Hello everyone. Today I am just going to explain about the preamble of the Indian Constitution. And before that, if you want the PDF of this session, please scan the QR code, and in this Telegram channel I would be uploading the PDF. You can just after watching the class, you can just download the PDF of this video. And let me just give some basic overall view how the next 40 to 50 minutes would be. Okay, preamble. I would be just saying what is preamble. What it reflects. Then we would be covering the nature of the Indian state. And there are some objectives. Finally, after completing this, we will be covering some case laws related to the preamble. And following that, there will be some POQs, prelims based POQs from 2011 to 2025. Okay. This is the plan for next 40 to 60 minutes. At most I would be binding within 1 hour, or it would be taking plus or minus 10 minutes. That's all. You can plan accordingly. And for tomorrow, I would be taking the salient features. Salient features of Indian Constitution. You just my kind advice is you just read once before you attending the class, because if you read once, you would be understand something, and there would be some gap. You couldn't understand some provisions or some terms like that. And if you watch the class, the gaps you can fill. That's all. That's it. It is a good approach. Okay. Now let us start the class with preamble. What is preamble? If something starts, first we will be asking the question, what is preamble? Preamble is nothing but it's like the crux of the Constitution. For example, as we know, the Indian Constitution is the lengthiest constitution in the world. It was like 393 article and 395 article. The article numberings are until 395, and the original articles are 450. And if a person, for example, a person was trying to read the Indian Constitution, and you want to know like how the Constitution will be before you reading any book, or you are trying to read something, what you will ask in your mind, how the book would be, what the genre, and whether it would be thriller or horror, like that. So like that, a person has some doubt now, like how the Indian Constitution would be, like that. For that, the answer is preamble. The preamble could say some crux of the Constitution. It gives the direction, how the Constitution makers think, and the overall philosophy of the Constitution makers was the preamble. It's like a crux of the Constitution, philosophy of the Constitution, or you can say the preface of the Constitution, or it is like a introduction to the Constitution. You can say whatever you want. You can say, but nothing but the preamble is whatever Constitution makers, our Constitution makers like thoughts, goals, aspirations, would be reflecting in preamble. Yeah, if you read the preamble, and just you can know the Indian Constitution would be like in the term of a secular socialist, and it would be in a term of a democratic, and it was a republic, Like that you can just interpret in how the Indian constitution would be. You can just identify. Yeah, it's like mirroring the constitution in one page. Preamble is nothing but mirroring the constitution in one page, or as Nani Palki said, it's the identity card of the constitution. A famous jurist, Nani Palki, said preamble is the identity card of constitution. Okay, hope you get some idea about the preamble. It is nothing but it's just a crux of the whole constitution, that's all. Okay, apart from it, what does it determine? The preamble determines the nature of the Indian state. How the Indian state would be, how the India would be. It would be determined by the preamble, like sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic. And yeah, we would be, after next 10 minutes, we would be just delving into what is sovereign, what is socialist, what is secular, what is democratic, and what is republic. And now just I am giving some overall view of the preamble. Okay, then after that, what it would be saying? First it would be saying nature. After that it would be saying objectives. Objectives, what the Indian state would achieve. For example, it would be justice, equality, liberty, fraternity, these are the objectives the Indian state seeks to achieve. Okay, now let me read the preamble. You will be getting some idea. Okay, we the people of India have solemnly resolved to constitute India into a is they are talking about the nature of the Indian state: sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, and republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constitution Assembly, the 26th November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. You have to memorize this word by word. Okay, you shouldn't leave any word in the preamble. So you have to memorize everything. Preamble you have to know. If I wake up suddenly, I would be saying a notification and I would be hacking some of your mobile number and I am just calling in 12 o'clock and I am from UPSC. What is preamble? And you have to say. But even if I wake in 12 o'clock, you have to say. Like that, you have to be strong in this preamble because it was the Constitution. It was nothing but a summary of the Constitution. They would be explaining articles, everything in this type. So you have to, if you understand this, you can study the remaining Constitution you can understand the Constitution in a easier way. Okay. Okay. As we said, sorry, 1 minute. There are some, this pen color yellow. No, it's okay. Okay, 1 minute guys, don't mistake me. What I can do. Okay, hope it is visible. What is we the people of India? Why the preamble is starting from we the people of India? Actually, the we the people of India determines the source of authority, where the Constitution gets its authority from. Unlike American Constitution also start with the we the people of India. Likewise, Indian constitution also start with "We the people of India." Source of authority, where the constitution get its authority from? People. You may ask, like, the constitution makers wrote the constitution and the political parties was ruling, then how the people was the authority? Who elect the constitution makers? People. And the constitution makers representing the people in the constitution assembly. Representing people. Representing people in the constitution assembly. So ultimately, who has the authority? The people of India. Okay. Then if we come, there would be the nature. As I said, first the source of authority. Who has the authority? Then the nature. Then the objectives. This was the preamble. Then when it was adopted. Okay. The nature was nothing but sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. And if you ask me whether all the five, the sovereign, secular, democratic, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. Okay. Whether all these 5 terms was in when our original constitution got enacted, whether this all 5 are originally part of the constitution? No. Okay. Both socialist and secular was added in 42nd Constitution Amendment Act. What is Constitution Amendment Act and how it would be adding, what is the majority required, we will be explaining in further classes. Now just remember, in 42, some technical error. Okay. Now you have to just know, in 42nd Amendment Act, the word socialist and secular got added. That's all. And the sovereign, democratic and republic are originally part of the constitution. If some question asks whether the all was originally the part of the constitution, it was wrong. Just only the sovereign, secular and democratic, sovereign, democratic and republic are originally part of the constitution, and socialist and secular was added in 42nd Constitution Amendment Act. Okay. Then we are going to see about the objectives. Objectives, what the Indian state seeks to achieve. Justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. Okay. This liberty was inspired by the French. You would be studying it in your world history, how the French Revolution started, how they just aspire for liberty, and how it spreads to entire world. Like that, you would be learning it in your history part. You just know the liberty was just spreading from the French, and there is a famous Statue of Liberty which was given to America. Yeah, that's the concept. After reading the world history, you will be getting some more clarity on this. If I started to explaining these terms, because these every terms are a political thing. Socialist was first in the USSR, like Vladimir Lenin, by the Marxist ideology. As I said, if I go in depth, it would be becoming the optional subject and it would be becoming some part of world history. So I am just saying what is required for the examinations. Okay. Objectives: justice, equality, liberty, fraternity. And when was the constitution got adopted? 26th November. Okay, this was the overall just crux of the preamble. Okay, hope you have some clarity on it. Let me just summarize. First, we would be seeing the preamble. You can just decode. Source of authority. Who was the source of authority? People. Then what is the preamble saying? Nature of the Indian state. And what was the nature of the Indian state? Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, and republic. If you further come, it would be saying about the objectives. What are the objectives? Justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. And the date of adoption. Yeah, these are the overall crux of the preamble. And now just dive into the nature of the Indian state separately. What is sovereign? What is socialist? What is secular? What is democratic? And what is republic? Then we can see this. Okay, yeah, it's nothing but the same. We the people of India have solemnly resolved into the India democratic, socialist, justice, liberty, equality, fraternity in our Constitution Assembly the 26th day of the November 1949. Okay, and the preamble, I just said what is the purpose. It indicates the source from which Constitution derives its authority. Who? Nothing but we the people of India. And it states the objectives or aims the Constitution seeks to achieve in the country. This we have already mentioned. Okay, what is sovereign? Sovereign is nothing but independent state. For example, like now India is a sovereign country. India can make their own decision, make their own foreign policy, etc. And no one can, for example, America can't say what India should do, or China can't say what India should do, or Russia can't say what India should do. India is an independent country. They can make their independent policies and they can make whatever they want. That's nothing but sovereign. Does India was sovereign for past 2 centuries? No, we are under the control of British colonial colony. We are a British colony. So we just you would be learning in our history. It would be our freedom struggle, and we get independent, and we are now just a sovereign nation. Yeah, it's not independent state, not subject to any other power. Yeah, people are supreme. In sovereign state, yeah, nothing but ultimately in India, people are supreme. And then what the sovereign seeks to achieve? It seeks to achieve the self-determination, that right to autonomy. 1 minute. It's nothing but independent, and people are supreme, and we have every right to take decision. That is nothing but sovereign. Yeah, you just see it. It's a self-determination, right to autonomy in international relation. Actually, I just make this as a self-explanatory, so you can just make some diagrams in your mains answers. So I'm just trying to make some pictographical representation also. it's the ultimate power, supreme authority without any external interference. Yeah, ultimately people are supreme and people will elect some government and they would make decisions. No one can interfere in their decision. For example, the US can't dictate what India should do, or China can't dictate what India should do, like that. And territorial control. Sorry, I'm not a I'm not a good drawer. If Modi ji sees this map, he will kick me. Okay, Kashmir. Okay, territorial control. There is the Indian territory was under the control of the government. That's all. I think it's just self-explanatory. Right, autonomy, supreme authority, territorial full control over the territory and the governance. And socialist and secular. As I already said, socialist, secular, these are originally not the part of the constitution. Originally not part of the constitution. Actually, like during constitution assembly, our fathers, constitution makers said, like socialist, secular, it because we are just now getting independence, the people should decide what suits them, and they have to just decide it, whether they need the socialist secular state, like that. We shouldn't just, it would be like sovereign sovereign democratic republic, and let the people decide what they want in the further future, like that. They just decided, and they just didn't added the words in the constitution. Okay, like determining the economic and social ideal of the country in its constitution, preamble is against the democratic nature of the country. People should decide what suits them according to the time and age. Like when time goes, people will know whether they need the socialist principle or they need some welfare, like that. So though the constitution in our constitution makers didn't added it, but if they didn't added also, already we have like articles, right, fundamental rights, right to religion. These are nothing but these are the secular aspects. For example, if you take the article 25, it nothing talk about the right to religion. Any person can practice their own religion, like that. It's nothing but a secular aspect. It gives right to the linguistic and religious minorities. However, we have to understand that the secular and socialist was not originally in the part of the constitution. Originally, it was not explicitly mentioned in preamble, but the ideas of the articles, everything was just like a secular and socialist thing only. Yeah, they are saying all articles bring out the secular credentials of the country, but ensuring there is no discrimination. Its addition of the word secular would be superfluous, and also Indian constitution doesn't fit Western definition of secularism. Yeah, there is a concept called Western secularism versus Indian secularism. Actually, I thought to let me give some crux of it, and I will be explaining in detail in the fundamental rights class. Actually, in Western secularism, the state, for example, the state means the political organization, and the religious aspect, the church, etc., are totally independent. There would be no connection. For example, the tax aspects, everything, the state shouldn't interfere in the church matter. But India is not like that. India state can interfere. State can interfere in some religious aspect. Because in Western secularism, it's the simple crux is there is a strict separation of power between the states and the religious entities. In the Indian secularism, there is no strict separation of power. Yeah, although there is separation, but there is no strict separation. The state can impose tax on some religious institutions, like that. There is no strict separation here. Here there is strict separation. That's all the crux. and I would be explaining in detail in the further classes, because I didn't plan to take today. If I take it, it would be going extended lecture. So okay, I hope this is to understand. However, the two words, as I already mentioned, two words socialist and secular were added in the 42nd amendment. You just remember, this is important. 42nd amendment in 1976. Okay, let me explain what is socialist. Actually, the socialist concept was this ideology first emerged in Russia. After that, it spread spread to China as communism. Then India is not a, and some part of India. Okay, it indicates nothing but to establish a welfare state. What is meant by welfare state? Welfare state means without inequalities. For example, there is a concept called capitalist and socialist. You would be studying it in your society part in GS1. Capitalist means the private organization would control, and they hold like top 1% will hold the more powers. Like socialist means the government would control everything, and they will be dividing it to people. There would be to reducing inequalities. The socialism concept emerges. Yeah, to establish a welfare state and by reducing inequalities in the society and eliminate the social ills like poverty, illiteracy, and exploitation. Reduce inequalities. If you reduce inequalities, what would be reduced? Poverty, exploitation of poor. For this, the socialist concept was emerged. There's a concept called capitalism. Here, the private entities as the major companies. For example, the oil exporting companies or the steel manufacturing companies. Now itself, if you see the America, some main players would be there. They will be controlling the whole at most half of the economy of the America, like that. But in socialist countries, the government would taking everything. For example, in India, there would be till now the coal sector itself fully in the control of government. Now they are starting to privatize. Like that, it would be some major sectors like that, coal, the energy, like that, it will be fully in the control of government. It won't be in the control of the private hands, and they would be giving some more welfare measures to people to reduce the inequality. That's called socialism, nothing but. It's in a crux, if you want to say, its main object to reduce inequalities and to eliminate the poverty, illiteracy, and exploitation. And Indian version is nothing but the democratic socialism. We are not a full socialist country. Are we a full socialist country like Russia? No. In India, there would be private participation also. So Indian socialism is called as the democratic socialism. Yes, ultimately the government controls the major public enterprises like important sectors, and there would be private players also in it. For example, there will be a lot of IT companies. Now India start to just liberalize. Okay, so India is called as the democratic socialism. And what is major goals of the socialism? It is like collective ownership and wealth distribution, social welfare, equitable society. Yeah, it's the cruxes for reducing inequality. For reducing inequality, what we need? We need a collective ownership. It would like a single person holding 100 crores, but total 100 total 1 crore people are 2 crores. Whether it was a collective ownership? No. This economy is called capitalist. I am just saying example. They are called private players. Private, they get more money, and a group of people has less money. It is called capitalist. If you take the socialist, if you take, whether I can write here, okay, the group, they would be just dividing the 100 crores into 100 people, then they will be having 1 crore. What did it determines? Equality among everyone. If equality was achieved, what we can see, there would be reduced poverty. If poverty was reduced, people will go for education, then there would be literacy. If people got educated, exploitation will reduced. If exploitation reduces, we can achieve equality. Like that, we can achieve a welfare society. That's the concept of socialism. Hope you understood the concept. It's like collective ownership, wealth distribution, social welfare, and equitable society. That's all. Then secularism. Actually, the original Western countries, in Western countries, the secularism got emerged because due to the because it is like in world history, you will be studying in your world history. The churches control the everything in the state, and there will be a lot of revolutions, and there would be a concept of secularism got emerged. And there is a strict, the secularism original concept means there would be a strict separation between the state and the church. Church is nothing but the religious organization, some religious. In Western countries it's church, so I am just saying church. In India it's like we have lots of diversity, temple, everything, mosque, everything. Okay, in India the state enjoys the power to regulate the economic, financial, political and secular aspect associated with the religious practices. Yeah, as I already said, there is a difference between the Western secularism and Indian secularism. There is no strict separation. Sorry, I think I have to work some more for use this pen. There is no strict separation in India. Okay, it can regulate the economic, financial aspect, like that. The state can regulate something, economic, financial, political, some secular aspect associated with religious practices. And if the secularism, as I already said, Article 25 to 28 guarantees fundamental rights, freedom of religion and to all persons. Ultimately it is a secular aspect. Before our in our original constitution itself, there is some part of the secular aspect in the constitution, but the secularism didn't explicitly mention in the constitution, but already the secular aspect was there. That I am just saying. Secular aspects was originally part of constitution, despite the word was not explicitly mentioned. Okay, I hope you may get some idea about the secularism, and let me move forward. Democratic. What is democracy means? Like almost 99% of the people would be studying in their school days. Democracy is the government of the country, like the government of the people, by the people, and for the people, like that Abraham Lincoln said. I just forgot it. Of the people, by the people, and for the people, I think. Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Okay, that's it. Democracy is the governance of the country in the hands of the people. Nothing but the Abraham Lincoln said, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It's the governance is in the hand of the people, and major elements was universal rule of law, universal adult franchise, like universal adult franchise. If it's nothing but it gives voting rights to all above 18, despite your gender, your caste, your religion, your race. You would be getting voting rights if you are an Indian citizen above the age of 18. That is called the universal adult franchise. It was mentioned explicitly in the constitution. Okay, the major elements are nothing but rule of law. Rule of law means the government makes some law and people have to follow it. Then periodic elections, absence of discrimination. I think it's nothing to explain in it. You know that in a democracy there would be elections in 5 years, like that. If it's Lok Sabha, it's 5 years. If it's Rajya Sabha, it's 6 years. You would be seeing it in a parliament executive, that section. Okay, and absence of discrimination. Yeah, ultimately, if people have the power, there would be some. We couldn't say there would be complete absence of discrimination, but it would be reducing. Then republic. Republic is nothing but the head of the state. There will be elected head of the state. Actually, there would be head of the state. Head of the state means head of India, and there would be head of the government. In India, the head of the state is president. Head of the government is prime minister. In India, okay. So India is a republic country. The head of the state, ultimately the president are elected by the people. You may ask who was electing the how dare you can say the president was elected by people, or you think we are foolish, the president was elected by the representatives like MLA, like member of parliament. Yes, I know, but who elected the member of parliament? Ultimately the people elected the member of the parliament. People elected the MP, MLA, and they would be electing the president. These are called as the indirect election. The MP and MLA are representing the people and electing the president. Okay, I hope it would understand. And republic, it's nothing but elected head of the state, and all office open to all citizens. Okay, there will be no discrimination. Okay, And does every democratic country or republic? Democratic versus republic. Does if a country, for example, if a country is democratic, whether every democratic country would be republic? No. Can you, I would say some example, for example UK, Japan, these countries are ultimately democracy, but whether it is republic? No. Ultimately the king of the UK, there's a monarch king of the UK, king of the Japan, like that. It's a democracy but not republic. And you can say whether there's an example for a country, there's a republic but not democratic. Yes, China. China, ultimately the people, the Communist Party was controlling the Chinese government, but whether this party was elected by the people? No. In paper they would be saying it was a democracy, but in practical, no, they are not elected by the people. Okay, hope you get some idea about it. And objectives of the preamble, and I just explained the nature of the Indian state. I'll be giving the summary. Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic. Sovereign is nothing but independent. There would be no external interference. The government can take its own decision. No country can dictate our government what the government should do. It's nothing but sovereign. Socialist, nothing but it's like a welfare state. Welfare state to reduce the inequalities, to reduce the social evils like poverty, and it's like illiteracy, exploitation. These are just the objectives of the socialist, to reduce those. And what is secular? Separation between religion and state. Does India was following the Western secularism? No. There is a concept called Indian secularism, and there the state will regulate the financial, economic, and some aspects of the secular aspects. And what is democracy? Governance by the people. Ultimately the people will govern the country. That is called democracy. And what is republic? Head of the state is elected by the people. Head. Does all democratic countries are republic? No. Does all republic countries are democratic? No. Example, all democratic countries are not republic. Example, United Kingdom. All republic countries are not democratic. Example, China. Okay, hope you was getting some idea about it. Let me continue. Objectives. Okay, what is justice? Justice means what? In the term, we can say it is like a fair method. Fair method, what from like what type of justice we need? Like social justice, economic justice, political justice. What is social justice? Like 1 minute, I would write and explain. Objectives. Justice means nothing but fairness. Okay. And in what situation do you need fairness in society? That's called social justice. In economical, that's called economic justice. In political aspects, so there's a concept called political justice. Okay. Okay, in social justice there is fairness in opportunity and fairness in community and opportunity. Yeah. Then economic, there would be equitable distribution of resources. In political, there would be equal participation in governance. Hope you get if you take economic, there is not equal distribution. If the wealth is concentrated on the top 1% of people, then how would we can achieve the economic justice? We couldn't achieve it. So we have to distribute the wealth in an equal way. In political justice, we should empower people to participate in the election, and we should represent all the marginalized communities, women, everyone we should represent. Then we can achieve the political justice. That is equal participation in governance. Recently, the 106th Constitution Amendment Bill. It's like 1/3 reservation for women. It ensures political justice. Okay, hope I am audible, and I think there are some lighting issues. Hope I think I could check or no issues. Okay, this is called 106th. Hope I am visible because my lighting got some issues due to some charging technical issues. So I think I am visible, and I am just continuing the class because I am audible. I hope I am audible and I am visible. Okay. Fairness in community and opportunity. In society, if someone, for example, if you are in a society full of discrimination, there is no opportunity for you to achieve. Without achieving the social justice, you couldn't able to achieve the economic justice, and without achieving it, we couldn't able to achieve the political justice also. Okay, I hope you get understood, and I am just giving some crisp point. Ultimately you have to read the books, and you can just, for example, for mains you have to write in very short manner and in a crisp way. So I have just given these pictures. You can use this. If you achieve the social, economic, political, if it combines, there will be some holistic justice. Otherwise, if you achieve only economic justice, whether there will be progress in the economy, no. If you achieve only the social justice, whether there would be progress, no. You have to achieve everything, then only you will be getting some holistic justice. Okay. Yeah. Social justice is fair and just treatment and opportunity for all individuals in society. It would be encompass the liberty, equality and fraternity, and it would be for example, in our constitution, article 15, article 16, we would be providing the reservation is for public employment, is for educational institution, and it would be ensuring the some social and economic justice, because if you get some reservation, you would be getting some education and you would be getting employment, and you can attain that economic justice. And abolition of untouchability, it was also mentioned in Constitution, article 17. I am just giving some overall view. When we come to the fundamental rights, we would be explain it in a very detailed way. What is untouchability and why it was got abolished. We would be explaining it in a detailed way. Okay. And yeah, economic justice. It's like alleviation of poverty through various intervention by the state. For example, MGNRJ. You would be learning it in your society part or current affairs. Actually, I would be saying some crux of the screen. Sorry. MGNRJ aim was to give employment, assured employment for 100 days to all. If some persons was applying in MGNRGA and if he didn't get employment within 15 days, if he didn't get the employment, the government will pay him. Ultimately, the government will pay some subsidies to him to run his life. To attain economic justice, the MGNRGS scheme was launched. Okay. And then political justice. Political justice means you have to give equal voting rights. Equal voting rights to all. As I said, there would be, for example, if it's women, for example, if it's a marginalized sections of the society, like that. If there shouldn't be any discrimination, there would be universal adult suffrage. Anyone can vote. That's called political justice. Yeah. And justice was borrowed from the USSR, the Soviet Union. After, there is a concept called Russian Revolution. You would be reading it in your world history. Ultimately, it would be the ideological part of the constitution. It would be adopted from the various part of the world. So, if you learn your world history, you would be knowing the history part of, like, why the liberty was on the aftermath of French Revolution, why the French Revolution got and how the liberty concept of liberty was emerged, and after the Russian Revolution the concept of justice was emerged. Like that, you'd be getting the history, why this got emerged. Okay. Yeah, political justice in the crux, if you want to say, it's nothing but a above 18 anyone can vote the election, and all can contest election. There is a age limit. Apart from it, there is no criteria. There will be age limit, and there will be certain official criteria, but the criteria couldn't discriminate a particular section of the society. These people shouldn't vote, like shouldn't contest election. It shouldn't it won't discriminate. And liberty. And liberty is nothing but absence of constraints of the state on the activities of the individual. Yeah. The state shouldn't dictate what individuals should do. That's called nothing but liberty. Okay, hope you understand. The state won't dictate what the individual should do. That's all. There is liberty of thought and liberty of expression, belief, faith. It was mentioned in Article 25 to 28. For example, as I already mentioned, the religion, right to religion, it was mentioned in Article 25. We gave two minorities, religious and linguistic minorities, like that. Faith is, in this concept, the faith is nothing but religion, and worship is nothing but ways of practicing religion. Okay. And equality. Equality is absence of special privileges. Yeah. For example, if you take the before 100 years, there will be some so-called upper class people. There will be some people. They would be getting more privileges than some so-called some lower class people. They would be getting more privileges. But however, whether here is equality? No, there is no equality, because one people getting more benefits and other people getting very low benefits. So there is no equality. So in our constitution, it ensures the equality. There is absence of special privileges to any sections. And then you may ask, there is a reservation, like that. I will be explaining it in the fundamental right part. If I go now, the class would be extended till 2 hours. Okay. Constitution ensures equality of status and opportunities in the civic, economic and political space. And the status is no discrimination, and opportunities, like as I said, the reservation, the affirmative action in favor of the backward classes, scheduled caste, tribes, women, children, physically challenged. To overcome the, ultimately, if you take before 100 years, Before, if he goes before 100 years, there are some privileged classes, and there was ultimately there was utter discrimination, and our constitution got emerged and the equality got formed. And how to overcome the historical discrimination, historical practices of patriarchal society, how to overcome it. For that, the government ensures some welfare measures in the form of reservation, in the form of some privileges, like that, so that it gives some support to the people, to overcome it. Okay. Yeah, so these are the opportunities that reservation, affirmative actions in favor of the backward classes, scheduled caste, tribes, women, children, and physically challenged. Yeah, this is a beautiful picture. It explains what's equality and equity. This is called equality. Okay, 3 persons, one short man standing, and somewhat height, and it's this tall man. And if you give some 3 same boxes, and this man couldn't see anything, okay, he can see in a very beautiful manner, he can see in some manner, and he couldn't see anything. If you just connect it with our society, these are so called that upper class people, these are so called middle class people, these are so called lower class people. If you give equal opportunity to all of them, the lower class people will be in the same strata, they couldn't see anything. But if you give the principle of, if you give the principle of equity in the term of reservation, because ultimately he don't needs any box, because he is already height. If he stand on the ground itself, he can see, and he needs some support to see comfortably. So 1 box. He need more support. So 2 box. So the concept of reservation would be in the form of equity, not equality. Okay. Whatever, for example, if the so called upper class people don't need anything, okay, let them be, let the no reservation required, they can study itself, and they need more support, so the government would give more support for them. That's it. Hope you get some idea. And fraternity. Fraternity is nothing but sense of brotherhood. Why the fraternity concept was needed? As a country with historical heritage, cultures, diverse cultures, from the South India to North India and Northeast India, Western India, they are actually historically they are controlled by the various kings, and each have its own culture, like that. The kingdom, it was at least like 500 to 600 kings control the whole India. If the sense of brotherhood was not there, there would be like the British person can come and divide the people. So the fraternity was ensured in the constitution. How it was ensured? Abolition of untouchability, and there is a free movement. A sense of brotherhood was assured, and there is a fundamental duties. There is a concept called fundamental duties. I will be taking it in a separate class. In fundamental duties, it was explicitly mentioned to promote harmony and spirit of the common brotherhood amongst all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, and regional or sectional diversities. It renounced parties derogatory to the dignity of the woman. Yeah, like at least like this, in most of the in some of the articles there would be it ensures the concept of the fraternity. And yeah, unity and integrity. Okay, unity and integrity. Unity was originally part of the constitution, but integrity was added in 1976. Integrity was added in 1976. 1976 means what? 42nd amendment. Okay, what are the terms added in 42nd amendment? Socialist, secular, integrity. These are the three terms which was added in 42nd amendment. Okay, hope you get it. Yeah, I came to the legal status. Okay, let me give the summary. Okay, let me complete it and let me give. Actually, for cases I would be connecting some separate classes for that background. Whenever it is required, I would be connecting with the topics. There are three cases: Berbari case, Berbari, Keshavananda Bharati, and SR Bhume. Keshavananda Bharati, it was a landmark judgment. It just changed the course of Indian polity. I'll be explaining the case laws in a separate class, and until then I will just quoting like this. Okay. In Berbari case, SC said like SC matlab SC means Supreme Court. Sorry, I forgot to mention. Actually, did I? No. While updating, I would be just changing it because I would be using some shortcuts, so I just implemented it in the PPT also. Okay. Like in Berbari case, the Supreme Court said preamble is not the part of the constitution. Preamble is a separate. What is the link between the index and the constitution? It was a separate entity, and the constitution was a separate entity. Like that, in Berbari case, Supreme Court has interpreted. And in Keshavananda Bharati case, the Supreme Court has said, yes, the preamble was a part of the constitution. Okay. Preamble was the part of the constitution, and it used to interpret in the various provisions like that. And it overturned in SR Bhume case. SR Bhume case, it's a landmark judgment because the Supreme Court said preamble is the basic structure of the constitution. There is a concept called basic structure. Whether it is originally it is mentioned in constitution, no, it was emerged in Keshavananda Bharati case, because the Supreme Court has said however, if the executive or parliament has amended something, it shouldn't affect the basic structure of the constitution, and there are certain they just established certain key terms in the basic structure, and it should not be changed like that. For example, there is that preamble, judiciary, they just put themselves in the basic structure, so the executive can't do anything like that. Okay, and definitely yes, I would be explaining this background in a separate class, but in this class just know, in Berbari case it was held it was not the part of the constitution. In Keshavananda Bharati case, it was held it is a part of the constitution, and SR Bhume case, it was held it is the basic structure of the constitution. Okay, and yeah, objectives, summary. I don't know, but I will be doing it. Okay. Okay, I will be just skim through whatever said it. Preamble. First, what the preamble? Authority. Authority means what? Who? Be the people. Then what it continues with the nature of the Indian state. What is the nature of the Indian state? Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, and republic. And then it achieves some objectives. What is sovereign independent state? Socialist, to obtain a welfare state. Secularism, that separation between the religion and state. But India, we have adopted some unique part called Indian secularism. There is no strict separation between the religion and state, and there is a concept called democratic, and then republic. Democratic, governance by the people. Republic, the head of the state should be elected. Does all the democratic countries are republic? No. Does all the republic countries are democratic? No. Example, for first one it was example the United Kingdom, second it was example the China. Okay, hope you understood. And objectives: justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. Justice is nothing but social, political, economic, and liberty of thoughts, expression, belief, etc. And it was from article 25 to 28 there is that right to religion, it was just emphasized. And equality, that's the concept of reservation, it explains the equity. I have said equity. In India, for reservation we are not established equality, we have established equity. And fraternity, brotherhood. And finally, when we adopt the constitution, okay, and case Berbari, Keshavananda Bharati, SR Bhume. Berbari case, not a part, Keshavananda Bharati part of the constitution, SR Bhume basic structure. Okay, I think hope you get some idea of the preamble before coming to PQ. And if you have any doubt, sorry. If you have any doubt, just mail jbupsc2.gmail.com. I am ready to answer your question. Hope I have explained. I didn't went in so detail. I have explained what it's required. It's more than enough to answer the question. Okay, let me just show some of the question. Hope economic justice as one of the objective of the Indian Constitution has been provided in. Hope you can answer the question. I have given it in last. Okay, the preamble and fundamental right, the preamble and directive principles of the state policy, and you can see there would be some question would be repeated. Just note economic justice objective provided in preamble and okay, preamble you know, but you don't know the fundamental rights are DPSP. So okay, actually it is the DPSP, not the fundamental right. I will be explaining in the further class. Okay, so try to solve it. The main makers of the constitution reflected which? Yes, ultimately you know the preamble. Which of the following objective is not embodied in the preamble of the constitution? Just you try to answer it. The main makers of the constitution. See, 2016, same question 2017, preamble. This way you can understand what was the trend of the question. You shouldn't just read something, because you can do, I can just take preamble for 1 week. Literally with 2 hours or 3 hours class I can take for 1 week with explaining every philosophies etc. But it was just not required for the examination. You have to just know the basic concepts. That's it. What UPSC was expecting from you. So the main makers preamble. Which one of the following reflects the nicest approach relationship between law and liberty? Actually, this was a anonymous question. It was from the political theory NCRT, and it was really anonymous question on that year. Actually, the answer was, if there was no laws, there is no liberty. And this type of question, as I said, there will be 3 to 4 question bounces. You can just add these questions into that list. And in the context of polity, which of the following would you accept as the most appropriate definition of liberty? Yeah, protection again. Actually, UPSC, in UPSC, there is a concept called, you can say like all the answers are correct like that. Yeah, almost all the answers are correct, but you have to choose the best option, which is best answer. That's the crux of UPSC. You have to choose the best answer. Okay, you can, if you see, all the answers would be in a similar way, like absence of restraint, opportunity to whatever one like, but you have to choose the best answer, that opportunity to develop oneself fully. Okay, and yeah, it's, you can solve it. Preamble to the part of the, say, part not a part of the constitution, part of the constitution. Okay, is also you can solve it. 26th John. Yeah, as I said, there would be one secular, no socialist, so a sovereign democratic republic. And which of the following factors constitutes the best safeguard of liberty if in a liberal democracy? Committed judiciary? No. You can also solve the separation of power, and I have given the answers. Hope the session was useful. And for mains, okay, let me explain. Actually, in preamble there would be a mains question. I didn't attach in it, but you just, if you search some Google search, there will be coming mains questions. You just first, I would be taking a separate class for answer writing, but you just start some answers, like you take the question and you just try to answer whether you can answer. Definitely there will be something you have to think, like there will be some analysis you have to do. Ultimately, if you watch my class and if you read some book, you can definitely answer the question. So you just try to write and send me jbupsc@gmail.com. Sorry. You just write some answers and send to me. I would allow to evaluate, and I would say the review of the answers. Okay, and thank you. I forgot to add the slide, so I'm just writing. We can meet in the next class with another interesting topic called salient features of the Indian Constitution. And as I said, if you read it, you can just understand some more, you can get some more clarity. So better, if you are watching this video today, just go and take 10 to, or take maximum, it would be taking half an hour. You just skim through the topics and just see what are there like that. If you see it, it would be getting more clarity on the topic. So hope the class was useful and it added some value in your preparation. Until see you in the next class. Until that, bye.